everybody, and welcome into HCAM Sports Talk. We are joined by Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you?
Very good. You must be breathing a sigh of relief now that that crazy spring season has come to a close.
Yeah, it's been a very busy school year, but when you're busy in the tournament, that's good. That means your teams are doing well and advancing from one round to the next. And we had a great spring season, so it's a good kind of hectic.
Absolutely, you had just about every team in the postseason, really, and Hiller baseball making it all the way to the final eight. And we'll certainly talk a bit about the spring season in just a moment, but we are a little bit sad because this is your final season as the Hopkinton High School Athletic Director. You're moving on, and I certainly want to say you'll certainly be missed, but what's next for you?
Yeah, so it's very bittersweet. As I said, my message to the coaching staff and the students, I've really enjoyed my time in Hopkinton. The people, the families, the coaches, honestly, the community, all my colleagues, everything's great. This is not a Hopkinton thing. It's a job thing. As most people know, I have twins who are going into fourth grade. And these last few years have just proven really challenging to do the job the way I want to do the job, while also being the father and husband that I want to be. And having twins, I kind of have a small window, right? They're going through everything at the same time. So I basically have like a 9-year window, and I really just don't want to miss my kids growing up, and I don't want to miss their events. And so as much as I love being at these events, I truly do. It's the best part of the job is, watching our teams compete and, having small talk with parents and kids in the stands. I'm often missing my own kids' stuff while I'm doing that. And that's just stuff I just can't keep doing anymore. And so as hard as this is all I've ever known. I graduated from college and started coaching, teaching, and then eventually became an athletic director 6 years ago. So it's literally schools of all I've known. I'm 40 years old, and it's either as a student or an employee, it's been my life. And so it's certainly a challenge, but I'm looking forward to my next opportunity, and I'm really happy about it. It's a little bit, I guess, off the beaten path that some people might expect. I'm actually going to work for a company called Boundless, which is a solar company. And so I'm looking forward to helping people in a different way, kind of walking them through the solar process and trying to help them save money while we help the environment at the same time. So, again, for me, it'll be great because I'll still be working with people. I'll still be trying to help people just in a different way. But I'll have more flexibility to also, be around my family a little bit more.
Well, I don't know too many people, if anyone, that puts the effort into the job that you have. So I'm sure your venture at the next company you're going to work for will be great as well. It's certainly been a pleasure working with you.
No, I appreciate that, Tom. And it's been great working with you and Mike and John and all the guys at HCAM. Obviously we were hit with something no one knew what to do with these last few years, and having the support and the efforts that you guys put in to bring these contests at all levels, not just varsity, at all these different levels, bringing it home to parents and family members was very unique. And I think I hope the people of Hopkinton realize how fortunate they are to have all of you guys and your dedication. And I know you guys love it, but it's still a lot of work, and it's a lot of hours to bring these games and bring them home to people. So, and then even once people could return, you guys were still out there doing them. So it's been awesome. And you guys just do a fantastic job. So I was always fortunate to have you guys there at the games, filming these things and, bringing the content home to people who couldn't make it.
Absolutely. Well, we love to serve the community. We love covering sports. So it works out for us. Obviously, we hope we never go through anything like we did with the pandemic ever again.
Yeah.
But we were happy to get as many sports as we could back to the people, especially in those awful days where you couldn't really attend the games.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been through quite a bit as Hopkinton High School athletic director, I must say. starting with the mosquito virus, which was a West Nile.
Oh, Triple E, yeah.
Or Triple E. And then right into the pandemic for you. So the fact you survived this long is very impressive.
It is interesting. In some ways, I feel like I just got here, and in other ways, I feel like I've been here for 20 years. So it's interesting, but we got through it.
It was 4 years going on 25, right? Yeah. So I got to ask you, what are some of your favorite memories as Hopkinton High School athletic director? Obviously, you have gotten to witness a lot of tremendous athletic accomplishments from the Hopkinton athletes, but what are some of your favorite memories?
Ooh, it's a tough question. I was not prepped for this. There's so many, honestly. I mean, my favorite memories truly are just chatting with the students at games. Sometimes they need to be reminded about appropriate behavior, but generally I just really enjoy chatting with the students at the games and family members. But a couple of things, I think stand out that I've been truly fortunate to be a part of was, getting to witness sort of the end of careers, like Coach Bliss, true legend, and seeing him go out on his own terms, and certainly what Coach Grabmeyer did this year, an undefeated season going out. And then she was able, it was a really nice afternoon a couple of weeks ago at Faneuil Hall when she was recognized by the MIAA for her distinguished service, and being there with her and having her receive that award was really special. And certainly the state championship is awesome too. But I think for me, one of the things that stands out the most was that first day that we returned to sports in the fall of 2020, and walking around and seeing our teams in action, even though they were wearing masks and spaced out by 6 feet with their bags and water bottles and, all the things that we had to do. But just being back outside and seeing how happy the students and the coaches were to be back together as a team. I think that's something that really stands out. And then in a similar vein, later that year, when I was able to walk outside for the first time and not have to tell people to wear a mask, and we could all be outside that spring and just enjoy being at a sporting event and for what it was meant to be. So I think those are two things that, just given the circumstances, really sort of stand out. And once we were able to bring our fans back full force, which I don't think you truly saw till this year. I mean, our football games were packed, our volleyball matches were packed. You saw it this spring at our baseball games and lacrosse games, like just seeing that kind of enthusiasm come back, because that's what high school sports really should be. Right before we shut down schools, our boys basketball team was playing in front of packed houses as they were making their run to the sectional finals, which was also just another great memory, seeing what Coach Keene did, battling through cancer and coming back and leading that team to the central finals. I could go on and on. There's just so many experiences and memories that I'll take with me. I could go on and list different ones, but those are probably the ones that just stand out to me in terms of being able to witness some things that maybe we didn't know we were going to be able to experience again, right? There was a period there where we just didn't know it was going to happen. And so to get those kids back on the field, even with the weird rules we had to abide by, it was just great. And then developing relationships with the coaching staff and the students has been, I've really developed some just great relationships with the kids here, the families, and the coaching staff, and certainly hope to stay in touch with as many people as I possibly can, and hope that our paths cross again, because it really is a great community to work for, a great school system to work for, and I know things will continue on in the success and the way our teams represent our community. I know will continue to be as top notch as it can be.
Absolutely. Well, I kind of threw you in the fire with that question, but you handled it real well. And hey, we do have some open broadcasting spots if you're ever interested. So
I'm in. Love to do a game. That would be great.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about this spring season. You recently gave out some awards. You named the Hiller Athletes of the Year, Kate Powers and Andrew Gunn, just two tremendous athletes. Kate Powers has broken maybe more records than anybody on earth. It's pretty unbelievable. Can you talk a little bit about Kate Powers and Andrew Gunn?
Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to watch both of them. Deal with the adversity of COVID, losing seasons, coming back, having modified seasons. And so as great of athletes as they are, and they're both going on collegiately. Andrew's playing baseball at RPI, and Kate's going to be doing track and field at the University of Kentucky. They're just really, really, really great people. They were great leaders within their teams. They were great leaders and ambassadors for our school and our community. I got the chance to get to know both of them pretty well over these past couple of years. And you're just not going to find better people. And yes, they were talented, no doubt about it. Kate might be one of the most impressive athletes I've seen in 18 years of my 18 years in working in high school. But what I think separates both Andrew and Kate is their work ethic. They just get after it. They don't get into the talking. They don't get into that sort of stuff. They just go out there, they take care of their business, and they just work at such a high level to achieve what they want to achieve. And it's been really, really special to watch them. I had the opportunity to shake Andrew's hand after the baseball team lost at Mansfield. And I just said to him very straight up, I loved watching you play. Whether it was soccer, whether it was baseball, he was just fun to watch. And Kate, I've had the opportunity to talk to Kate quite a bit and just tell her how much I appreciated her and what she brought to this school, whether it was a big kill in volleyball or her just constant record breaking in multiple events. I mean, Kate is unique. She's a two-time team state champion, both the indoor track team in 2019, 2020, and then this year's volleyball team. And then her own individual accomplishments as state champion, All-American, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's nuts that she can still remain so humble and modest despite all the success that she's had. Is just a true testament to her character.
Absolutely. They were both just so fun to watch. And in a baseball season where you had two of your top pitchers out, Andrew Gunn was one of those guys that really had to step up to essentially put that team on his back pitching wise. And they ended up making it all the way to the Elite Eight. But both athletes just absolutely tremendous. Certainly looking forward to see what Kate does over at Kentucky. That'll be pretty cool. You also named the Scholar Athletes of the Year, Jesse Iannelli and Orion Shaw. Can you talk about those two?
Again, just great kids, great student athletes. So both Jesse and Arian play multiple sports. Arian did boys soccer and then was part of our winter and outdoor track and field programs. Jesse was part of the basketball program and the girls lacrosse program. And just if you ever have a chance to talk to those two kids, I mean, they're just as nice of a human being as you can possibly come across. They're both in the top of their class. And we're able to make that, really difficult balance between being an exceptional student and also a really good athlete too. And that to me is that award is all about we refer to our athletes here as student athletes. They are students first and athletes second. And I think Jesse and Arian are both just perfect examples of people that were able to really do amazing things in the classroom while also doing amazing things on our different athletic teams and also serving as leaders in our teams and in our communities with community service events and so on and so forth. Jesse served on the school committee as the student voice on the school committee. And I was able to see her at some of those meetings. It's really impressive, the maturity that she was able to demonstrate at those meetings. When I was in high school, I could not have done that.
Absolutely. That must have been a tough award to pick because there are so many great student athletes at Hopkinton High School.
Yeah, these awards are always really, really challenging, which is why, and I know I might be stealing your thunder here, but we have a third award that we're able to give out through the Marines. And, it's nice having that third award, that Marine Scholar Athlete Award, because it allows us to recognize a few other kids that are also just, I mean, we could go on and on. I could give more awards. We just have a lot of really great kids. But the Marines provides that opportunity to recognize a few other kids, and Nick Paharik and Kiki Fossbender, again, both just great kids, great athletes, multi-sport athletes, students, the whole thing. And so it was just a nice opportunity to be able to recognize Kiki and Nick as well, who again, both did so many things for their programs. They were leaders, they were captains. So not only did they excel in what they were doing, they also led their teams, they led their community. Nick was also an MIA student ambassador. He helped with some of our community service efforts, which was certainly more challenging during COVID and the pandemic. All 6 of those kids are just unbelievable ambassadors for our school and our community.
Absolutely. And there are just so many good ones to choose from, but I think you certainly chose 6 students that deserve these awards very much. They worked really hard, both in their schoolwork and on the field. So we had a normal spring season that did not go into July, fortunately. The baseball team was the last playoff team left standing. Well, you had the tennis teams as well, but Hiller baseball, they went all the way to the final 8, where they fell to Mansfield 7-6. And that's after you had Josh Fisher out for the season as he got a shoulder surgery. Vinny Purpura got hurt early on in the season. So
Josh actually graduated. So Josh did get hurt. You're right. And he was out this season, but he was in college.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we didn't have Josh either way. But Vinny, obviously I think everyone kind of hoped and assumed that Vinny would jump into Josh's shoes. And obviously just a crushing injury for Vin. I had the opportunity to talk to him multiple times, and you can't find a kid that handled that adversity better than Vinny. And when you really put it in perspective, he lost his sophomore season. He had a shortened junior season and then an injured senior season. That is just you have to feel for him. And he just handled it so well. Again, as a high school kid, I would have just been devastated, absolutely inconsolable. And he just embraced a different role. He became basically a de facto pitching coach, helping his buddies who were on the team. And we had plenty of guys step up, like Johnny Waters and Andrew Gunn, Nick Paharik, Mike Burney, seeing Charlie Simulus come back from his Tommy John surgery and pitch lights out at Mansfield. He was awesome. I mean, so again, what happened with Vinny was just devastating, but he handled it so well. And that team, that baseball team that you just referenced, just a classy group of kids that really just did things the right way. And if you went to the games, you saw it. And I hate to say this, but you saw how our kids carried themselves and behaved. And then you saw some of our opponents and their behavior, and it just was so easily apparent the cultures between the 2 programs and what Coach Simos has set as just a tremendous culture within that baseball program, and how our kids act and represent themselves. There's no complaining to umpires. There's no needless taunting out there, which happens far too often during these games. So it was just a really great group of kids. And again, another great memory. You asked me for memories, and we got to host the state championship.
Yes.
That was really cool. I mean, I know it didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but another really cool memory. Given the uniqueness of that year, no one gets to host state championships, so that was a unique experience and a really cool experience for our community to be able to host the state championship.
I'd imagine that is something you didn't see coming.
No, especially on July 1st or whatever it was when we hosted it.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I could be there for that game, but certainly a great opportunity for Hopkinton High School to host that state championship. And you guys did a great job. I understand you had a big crowd on hand that day, but
absolutely,
everybody was happy and got to see a great ball game between 2 very good teams. So the tennis teams also had some great seasons put together. A lot of wins during the regular season and made it pretty far in the playoffs. Can you talk about the tennis teams a little bit? Unfortunately, those are 2 teams that we don't really get to cover as much as we'd like to here on HCAM.
Yeah, no, both tennis teams were fantastic this year. Both were TVL large champs. Both tried to schedule some tough non-league matches to get themselves ready for the tournament under this, under this new format. It's a little unique. You never really know who you're going to get. Our boys made it to the Elite Eight. And unfortunately, they fell to Duxbury for the second year in a row. But Duxbury is always a very, very strong program. And, our boys, after graduating a handful of seniors last year, I think there was a lot of question marks about what the team might look like this year. And they, a lot of kids stepped up and just had great seasons. And, both our tennis programs did run into some challenges this year where they were shorthanded due to illnesses and due to some other things. And they just battled through them, gave opportunities to other students, and they both persevered through them. Our boys got to play some teams we don't typically play. They got to play Beverly, in that first round, and then Wakefield, and before heading down to Duxbury. And then they, fortunately or unfortunately for our girls, their second match in the Sweet 16 was against a very familiar opponent, Westwood, who we had beat twice during the regular season, but both times it was 3-2, very close, very contested matches. And unfortunately for us that day, it flipped. It flipped the other way, and we came up on the short end of that, which was really, really unfortunate. But again, another team that lost a lot of senior leadership, and just girls stepped up. A lot of girls that hadn't had varsity tennis experience were able to come in and play that year. And Coach Calkins had to run through a lot of different lineup changes again due to injuries and illness and stuff throughout the season. And they just made it work. And both just tremendous seasons for those programs.
And you mentioned it perfectly. There were COVID issues throughout even this season, but especially in the fall, winter season. And it must have been impressive to watch these coaches adjust and watch players adjust, maybe in some cases being put in positions they don't normally play. But it's been a season with a whole lot of adjustments that needed to be made, but pretty much every Hiller team that I've seen, if not everyone, has adjusted well and been able to fight through the season and produce a lot of great playoff seasons and very good games. It must have been good to see how well these coaches and players were able to adjust throughout this crazy situation that we've had the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't say enough about our coaching staff. They are just great people who truly want what is best for kids. And, starting from that very first spring in 2020, what people didn't see was how many Zoom calls our coaches were having, scavenger hunts, virtual scavenger hunts, virtual team workouts, bringing in speakers to talk to them, doing college academic nights for them, for the kids who were, wanted to play at the next level. I mean, the way they able to just transition into something they obviously no one knew what to do from an academic standpoint or an athletic standpoint, our coaches jumped right in and just gave those kids, I think, so much to keep them mentally going through a very difficult, isolating time and continued to make them feel part of a team. It was unbelievable to see what they did. And then just continue that through. For the last 2 years, I felt like the Grim Reaper coming around being, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this. You just lost 7 players. Games canceled. If you saw me coming, you wanted to run the other way. And our coaches just never made excuses. They rolled with it. They just made the best of it. Hey, it is what it is. We're not going to make excuses. We're just going to make the best of this situation. They were outstanding to work with. I'm sure they were frustrated. Our girls basketball team got not shut down. The whole team was out for 3 weeks. They just got into the swing of things, and now they're out for 3 weeks. And then you got to reset in January. And if you remember, it took them a while to hit their groove because of course it did. And that's just one example. They all just kept rolling with it. I truly can't say enough about them, and the students too. They've battled through so much adversity, and they just kept rolling, trying to make the best of it. But, the coaches deserve more credit than they've probably received these past few years. It has been incredibly challenging to balance just the demands of coaching with all of the COVID stuff. And it's really been that way even throughout this year, never knowing, oh, I just lost my 3 starters. We gotta go play today. Like that, those are real things. And I can't say enough about how they handled these situations and really overly emphasized making sure kids were having a good experience and that this was something that was going to help them in their mental health versus the other way around. And they've been tremendous this entire time. And I know that will continue after I leave.
Absolutely. The coaches and all the Hopkinton High School athletic staff just did such a tremendous job at adjusting to what I think were some of the toughest situations that you could ever experience. And Rich, I know you're too humble to admit this, but you did a tremendous job working through these difficult seasons the last couple of years and making sure all the teams got their games in. So kudos to you for doing such a tremendous job. I don't know if there's a lot of athletic directors that could have handled this as well as you did.
Well, I appreciate it, but it was really the kids, the coaches, Lou, Amanda. There was just so many people doing amazing things and just making it work, just making the best of it. It's all you can do.
So before we let you go, I want to ask you this. There might be some kids in college or some young coaches working their way up through the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the most important qualifications are to become a good athletic director?
Oh, God.
I'm throwing you right in the fire here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good question. I think ADs kind of do things differently. I have a great group of colleagues here in the TVL and prior to that in the Hockenmock League. And I think a lot of stuff people don't see that goes on behind the scenes is I think it's really important to ADs to create consistent and fair opportunities for all our student athletes. And I think we can all admit that really wasn't the case. Right. Like even when I was in high school in the 90s, right, there were certain sports that kind of got preferential treatment over others. Right. And it was just almost like accepted. And I think it's really important that every sport is treated equally and receives that same sort of attention. And that's something I've really tried to do, whether it be through social media or just my attendance at events, is every sport matters. Every kid matters. And I think, so to answer your question, I think someone to be in this role has to have that broader perspective. I think it is really important to step outside yourself. So, I coached multiple sports, but I didn't know everything about every sport. So you got to be willing to learn. You need to be willing to ask questions. You need to be willing to listen to feedback. So you got to really have that broader perspective. And honestly, no day goes as planned. Literally 0 days go as planned. And so you have to be willing to roll with it. You got to be able to adjust and pivot without getting too frustrated. I mean, definitely there are frustrating days that we all have those, but you need to sort of keep that perspective of why are you doing this? If you don't have that, I think you'd really, really struggle in this because the days can be tough. The days can be complicated, but if you have why you're doing it at the forefront and it's all about the kids, then I think you can do a good job. And then there's other things. Obviously, you want to be organized. I think one of the things that people may know, but you really need to be able to deal with multiple personalities. And I don't mean that in a mental health standpoint. I mean that you deal with lots of people. I mean, every kid is different. Every family is different. Every coach is different. It's been a great experience for me getting to see different ways of doing things. Right. I had my way of doing things as a coach. And I think you can achieve success and achieve the same positive end goals in vastly different ways. And it was really kind of eye-opening for me to see some of those. But I think if you have this fixed mindset, you really, really struggle. I mean, we have hundreds of coaches, thousands of kids. I mean, you just have to be able to work with personalities, officials, right? They all have their own quirks, you just have to have that ability to work with different people from different backgrounds, different personalities, and different viewpoints, right? You have to be able to disagree without fighting.
Well, Rich, I'd say you did a tremendous job at showing love to every Hiller sport I don't think there was ever an update that I couldn't find on the Twitter page. You did a great job with that. And it's been a pleasure working with you. And in all seriousness, you ever want to come on a broadcast, would love to have you. So
that'd be great. I'd love to do that. And it's been awesome working with you guys. I appreciate all your support. Especially you, Tom, but all the guys at HCAM. So thank you very, very much. And I know you guys will keep doing your thing. So I'd love to jump on a broadcast. That'll be a ton of fun.
Absolutely. We'll certainly be in touch about that. But thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck in your future endeavors. And again, it's been wonderful working with you.
Thanks. Same here, Tom. Appreciate it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. We are now joined by Andy Barron from MyFM 101.3. Andy, how are you?
Good, Tom. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. It'll be a shorter segment today. We just talked with Rich Cormier, the Hopkinton High School athletic director, and he is going to be leaving. This was his fourth year as the athletic director. I believe it was his fourth. Yeah, fourth year. And he had to deal with a lot between Triple E, COVID, and he did a tremendous job at working through all the obstacles, which there were many that got in his way. Certainly had to do a lot of moving of the games around, as pretty much all the athletic directors had to throughout the area. But certainly a tough few years for high school sports in general, Andy.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And you've seen a lot of athletic directors coming and going here. It's just, they never really had to go through anything like this, probably in the history they've been involved in sports. But we seem to be now finally on the other side. Things are back to normal. Tournaments happened again. Summer programs and leagues have returned, and we're just living with what we have to live through right now. And but Rich did a great job here at Hopkinton. Always a top-notch programs are always in the thick of things, and I'm sure the new athletic director will also be hopefully a good choice, and will keep leading the program in a good direction.
Absolutely. Well, we'll certainly have big shoes to fill, but Hopkinton typically does a great job at filling these positions. So I'd imagine that they will get someone who's very qualified. But in any case, we got a few minutes to talk about some of the other happenings going on. Before we get into the Celtics, you're just at the Sharon Timlin race, and you participated in the 5K. How did everything go over at Sharon Timlin?
It was great. It really was, Tom, and it was a nice day for running as well. Just a really picture perfect day. It was great to see so many people out there. Over 700 runners towed the line. That is a lot for a 5K, especially this race hasn't been going on for 2 years because of COVID. They shut down. So this was the first year they were back. So I ran, and then I helped broadcast. So I had some double duty there, but it was a lot of fun. John and I had a great time. And, we talked to Mike Timlin. We talked with Tim Wakefield. We talked with Mike Myers. Of course, they signed autographs throughout the day. Just really something to talk to the 2000 members of the 2004 Red Sox. I mean, that is arguably maybe the greatest story in sports history. If not, it's one or two. It's right there. And to be able to talk to guys who went through it was just great. But also being able to talk to other people that have had lost loved ones to ALS, or they're battling ALS themselves and still coming out and supporting the community. Over $2 million has been raised through this race. The Angel Fund does so many great things, and I encourage everyone to get out and support. It only takes a couple of dollars. It doesn't take a huge thing, and everyone comes together. Look at how far we've come since Lou. And I mentioned this on the broadcast. Since Lou Gehrig had the disease back in the 30s, we knew nothing about this thing, and now people are living longer. Unfortunately, people are still passing away, but I think we've made tremendous progress. You have to definitely see that. But it's a horrible disease. It really is.
Yeah, just truly an awful disease. But we're grateful for events like the Sharon Timlin 5K that raise money to fight these terrible diseases and allow people to live longer and a little bit better of a quality of life. Right. So a great event. that the Sharon Timlin Fund puts on every year, or Sharon Timlin race to raise money for the Angel Fund. And I think there were a lot of people just waiting to get back to do a normal 5K. 700 runners, that is a tremendous amount.
One of the, we were talking to runners throughout the day that would be coming up and talk to us, and one of the best lines we had was we would ask people, why they're running, and one guy said, "Oh, my mom made me." So
yeah,
that was we laughed at that response. That was really good. My daughter also took part in the color run. They had the bouncy houses there. It was tough getting her out of there. Kids, they're all over the place, but everyone really was just having a good time. And it all starts in community. I always say that starts right here in your local towns. And Hopkinton is well known for road running. We know this. We got the Boston Marathon. We have just so many 5Ks, so many events come through this town, and also in Ashland through Framingham. We talked to a guy from New Jersey actually as well. People came from all over to run this race, and it's really good to see. And they also call the Hopkinton Hillers that for a reason. Not an easy course. There was some good hills on that course. But I enjoyed getting out there, and I look forward to doing it again next year.
Absolutely. Certainly a lot of hills.
Yeah, that's why they call it the Hillers. It's all kind of a warm up, until I go back there October 2nd for the Jimmy Fund walk, which is going to be a lot longer, but I'm really looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be here as soon as you know it.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great event to raise money for a great cause. And they had a nice day for it, which was good.
Yes.
So I do want to talk a little Celtics, kind of close out the thoughts on this team that fell in the championship to Golden State. Unfortunately, we made predictions last week. It was after the Celtics just blew game 5. They were down 3-2. You guys were optimistic that the Celtics could come back. I was hoping the Celtics could come back, obviously, as a Celtics fan, self-admittedly. But unfortunately, my prediction was right. They fell in game 6, and they fell hard. It was a game that Golden State, they definitely played better than they did in game 5, but the Celtics just were not impressive once again, shooting-wise. And I know they don't have as much championship experience as Golden State, but I think on paper they certainly have more talent. But obviously it doesn't matter what you got on paper. It matters who wins the games. And the Celtics, they came up short. Some of the things that I noticed is they have Derek White, who I think was one of the worst players they had on that court. He had a plus-minus that night of 26. And they had him in way too long. He ended up playing 16 minutes and 27 seconds. I'm not sure why he was even out there. He went 1 for 6 shooting, 0 for 2 from three-point land. And also Pritchard did not have a good game either. He had a minus 20, Peyton Pritchard, and he played just under 8 minutes. Not sure why he was out there that long. He was a guy that was never clicking. And then another guy, I'm not sure why he was out there for almost 16 minutes, was Grant Williams. I understand that Tatum struggled a lot. Jaylen Brown was probably the best player on the floor with 34 points. And you had Horford, who was, for the most part, tremendous, had a lot of good rebounds, 19 points overall. But it kind of bothered me on why they had some of these guys in the game that just weren't clicking, like White, Pritchard, and Williams. I feel if those guys got less playing time, perhaps we could have had a little bit different of a result. And why wasn't Williams out there more? I know he's an injury-prone guy, but he only played 32 minutes. And he had a plus-minus to -1. He wasn't great, but not sure why White, Pritchard, and Williams got so much playing time. And Andy, I feel that was one of the reasons that this team fell pretty hard at Golden State in game 6.
A lot of reasons, Tom, that you just mentioned. But one thing that really, two things that stood out to me. How do you give up a 21-0 run? They got blitzed right out of the arena. That's only the second time it's happened in 50 years. You're never going to win a game playing like that. And number 2, ball movement. They just were stagnant in offense. We don't have a legit point guard. That is a problem. Marcus Smart is not a legit point guard. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown should not be taking the ball off the floor. They were exposed. You got to give Golden State credit. They exposed the Celtics' flaws. And that's what championships teams do. Whether you like the Warriors or not, they took it to a different level. I said it before. This was not the Miami Heat. Okay, this was a totally different ball club. Steph Curry's one of the greatest shooters this game is probably ever going to see again. And you just can't give them second chance points. How many times did they just not get an offensive rebound? You can't do that with guys like Thompson and Curry. They're going to kill you. Or a guy like Andrew Wiggins, who they had no answer for whatsoever. However, though, I'm not dismantling this team. You were 2 wins away from a championship. You just need to plug in a few players here and there. And I think you can beat this team. But you saw what it's going to take. It's going to take a monumental effort, and they're going to have to beat this team again next year. Because I don't think the Warriors are going anywhere. They're going to go for a 5th champion. They're a dynasty, whether you like them or not. They are, and they bullied you around. They did. They were tougher.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I agree. I don't think they're going anywhere either. I think Curry is probably the most clutch player in the league. He was tremendous in this game, as he usually is in the big moments. And this team, they got a lot of talent that's coming back next year. And I'll tell you what, they might not be the most talented team on paper, Golden State, but they are a championship caliber team, and they have a lot of experience, and they know how to play in these big games.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it has been about Tatum the last couple games. I don't know if nerves have got the best of him or if he's inside his own head, maybe a little of both. But he really struggled in those last couple of games.
Yeah, he really did. And I thought Jaylen Brown actually was pretty good. You know, he seems to put it in another level sometimes, really, in these games. But I just didn't really like the shot selection. I think the Celtics got psyched out. I really did. I think and that happens. So this is their first time there, but they did give the Warriors some problems too, but they just were not able, since that 4th quarter on, they were dominated. Really, it was really that simple. And who is out there that they can bring in? Who is there a point guard available? Is there somebody they can bring in? And the bench, they need, you remember when they won in 2008, they had Eddie House, they had James Posey. They don't have anything like that on the bench. Like, I like Derek White, but he just seemed to disappear. Grant Williams did too. Tice really wasn't even a factor, and Pritchard wasn't either, because they weren't getting good shot selections. They were not moving the ball enough. When the Celtics move the ball efficiently, they are a great team. But again, I'm not dismantling this team. You're not getting rid of Brown, Smart, Tatum. Somebody even said trade Robert Williams. No, come on. Robert Williams is a force when he's healthy.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you really think about it, he might be the best center we've had since Robert Parrish. Now, I'm not saying he's better, but I think the potential is there. And you need to keep this core together, which I think they're going to do. But if they can get, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would happen. But say you get a guy like Karl Anthony Towns in there, now you're in business. Because that's another guy you got to get, but that probably would be unrealistic. But they can add somebody. I think players would come here now. This is a destination now.
I agree. I think it is, and I think if they keep this core together, it'll be even more of a destination, because now the league's on notice that, hey, the Celtics, they can at least make the championship. They haven't proved they can win it yet, but they prove that they can win the East. And this is one of the top teams in the East. And I think it's going to be that situation heading into next year as well. Pretty much when you talk about the East, you're talking about the Heat, the Bucks, and the Celtics.
Yeah. Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Toronto, and another team. I actually, don't be shocked, Detroit. I think they're an up-and-coming team, and they gave some of these teams some problems earlier this year. I don't think they're quite there yet. Chicago, I think, is still a tier below. But with Giannis, you have a player of that caliber, that team's going to be there. Jimmy Butler with Miami, they're going to be there. But the Celtics have proven they can beat these teams. They are going to be right there next year. I don't think there's any doubt about it, regardless of what those other teams do. But let's face it, you're going to have to beat Golden State to win a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said earlier in the playoffs that the Celtics have a strong bench, and I was kind of wrong. They do have a strong bench at times, but in these games where it really counted, their bench did not come through at all. So I think they got to work on the bench a little bit. And I agree, as you said, I don't think they're far from getting a championship. I think they need to add a couple pieces. If they need to trade one of these big guys, I hope they don't have to, but perhaps they do to get even a bigger name in there. But if you could keep this core together and add another couple pieces, I think you're right back at it. But believe it or not, as I said, it's a short segment. So we're going to get right into final thoughts. And Andy, I'll let you start. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, a couple final thoughts. First, Milford Legion baseball off to a tremendous start so far this season. They're 4-1. They got a game. They had a mercy ruling game with Sturbridge the other night. They play Northbridge tonight. I know this is Tuesday. This airs on Wednesday. But the Post 59 team is looking very, very good right now. So definitely get on there and get to see a game. And also this Saturday coming up on the Buzz, our Athletes of the Week. We have Athletes of the Week. We are going to be talking with the Franklin Unified Basketball Team, gold medalists at the USA Summer Games. They took down Bend, Oregon in the championship game. They had a police and fire escort back to Franklin High School. What an incredible story this is. To win a gold medal at the Special Olympics is just a remarkable. Just think of how many great teams and athletes are at these events, and for them to come home with a gold medal is it's incredible. We're really looking forward to talking to the team on Saturday.
That's absolutely tremendous. That should be a fun interview. So be sure to tune into the Buzz over on MyFM.
9 to 11. Yep.
Saturdays 9 to 11, correct?
Yeah, nice and early now. That's good.
There you go. So a couple final thoughts I got. Tampa Bay, they have dropped the first two games of the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup. And Tampa Bay, they overcame a 2-0 deficit against the Rangers, but they beat Colorado 6-2 the other night. So it's 2-1 series now. So I'm still up in the air on who's going to win this, but this Colorado team, very tough, but good job by Tampa Bay coming back from a 7-0 loss to beat them 6-2. So this series, I still think it's going 7. Not sure who's going to win anymore, but it should be a really good finish in the Stanley Cup. And we'll certainly talk more about that next week. We'll have almost a full hour. So we'll dig into that. It'll be our finale, most likely for the summer, but we do have some highlight shows that are going to be happening in July, all the spring highlights from the Hillers season. You'll be able to catch those in the upcoming episodes in July. But for Andy Barron, I'm Tom Nappy. This has been HCAM Sports Talk, and right now, here's the latest in Hiller sports. On May 27th, Hiller Boys Lacrosse took on Ashland in their regular season finale. A win clinches a playoff spot for the boys lacrosse team. First quarter, Hillers get the offense going. Takes it in. He's tripped up. That's going to be a delayed call. Still somehow held out of the ball, and he pops it in. Owen McDonald tripped up, gets back up, and makes it a 1-0 game. And they're going to get one. Intercepted by Lave Lynette. Del Ponte over to McDonald, and McDonald feeds the net. Owen McDonald with his second goal already. Comes at 6:49 left to go. And the Hillers up 2-1. Up to Gould. 4.5 minutes and counting left to go here in the first quarter. Del Ponte closing in, and he rips it in. So Ashland scored a shorthanded goal. The Hillers respond back. Feeds it over. Shot ripped in by Cooper Goodman. 5-1 Hillers. They net 5 goals in the first quarter, outscoring Ashland 5-1 and take the win 10-4. to finish the regular season 7-9. Boys lacrosse advanced to the playoffs and ended their season 7-10 with a 15-3 loss versus Marblehead. Boys lacrosse TVL All-Stars included Logan Del Ponte and Owen McDonald. The team received the TVL Sportsmanship Award and had 4 honorable mentions. Hillers softball celebrated senior night prior to taking on Ashland in their regular season finale on May 27th. Hillers softball featured 3 seniors, including Emily Jurassic, Charlotte Can, and Juliana Cedia. Hillers offense exploded in the bottom of the first. She just tattoos the ball, loves going left side as well. And she's going to put this one up the middle. That's going to drop in. 1 run is around. Here comes another run. And how about a 3rd run? The throw in, cut off. 3-0 Hillers. A 3 RBI double by Holly Paharic. And a good piece of this one into right center it goes. 1 run is in. Here comes another run. And here comes a 3rd run. The throw cut off. And it's a 3 RBI double by Charlotte Holden. And this is up the left side. Throw the glove of the 3rd baseman. Here comes another run. The throw not in time. Nearly hit Holden. And advancing to 3rd is going to be DeSimo. No, last time up. And gets a good piece of this one to center field, and it's not going to be caught. And here comes Holly Paharic. She's going to head home. And that is going to be an RBI triple, or maybe an inside the park homer, and it is! Inside the park home run, Ashley Callery. A 12-run inning for the Hillers. Hopkinton took the win in their regular season finale over Ashland via a 5-inning mercy, 17-2. Hillers finished the regular season with 12 wins and 8 losses. In the playoffs, Hillers went on to the preliminaries and took down Marshfield 9-1. Hillers then fell in the round of 32 to Wachusett 12-0 and ended their season with a record of 13 wins and 9 losses. Hillers TVL All-Stars included Ashley Callery, Caroline DeSimone, and Holly Paharic, along with pitchers Charlotte Can and Juliana Cedia as honorable mentions. Congratulations to the Hillers Unified Track and Field team on winning the Division II State Championship. Thanks to Pete Smith and Kathy Lutz for making the trip out to present the championship trophy, banner, and medals to the team. Hiller girls lacrosse didn't make the playoffs, but they ended their season on a high note with a 13-12 road win over Ashland. Hiller girls lacrosse all-stars included Emily Hayward and honorable mentions to 4 other Hiller athletes. Congratulations to Hopkinton High School dive coach Jim Brainerd on earning Hall of Fame honors. He has been with the Hillers since 2007, collecting 14 league championships, 8 sectional championships, and 4 state championships. He also coached 3 All-American divers. Congratulations, Coach Brainerd. It is very well deserved. Hiller baseball finished the regular season with 11 wins and 9 losses and captured the 6th seed in the Division II MIAA state playoffs. In the first round, they took on Holliston and defeated the Panthers by a final of 11-6. In the round of 16, Hillers hosted 11th-seeded Norwood. It was a scoreless game until the bottom of the ninth. Joe Carazza lands a hit to score Joe Scardino and capture the 1-0 walk-off win in the bottom of the ninth. In the final 8 round, Hillers fell just short to Mansfield 7-6. Hillers finish the season with 13 wins and 10 losses. Congratulations to Coach Simos and the team on a great run. Hiller TVL Baseball All-Stars included Joe Carazza, Andrew Gunn, and John Waters. They also received the TVL Sportsmanship Award. Hiller Boys Tennis finished the regular season with a record of 15-1 and captured the 6th seed in the Division II state playoffs. They took down 27th-seeded Beverly 4-1 in the round of 32. In the round of 16, Boys Tennis defeated Wakefield 4-1 and improved to 17-1 overall. Hillers concluded their playoff run in the Elite 8 round by falling to Duxbury. Hopkinton ends their season 17-2 overall. Congratulations on a great season. Boys Tennis TVL All-Stars included Lex K, who was named League MVP, Adam Glace, Spencer Smith, and Rishit Shakar. They also captured the TVL Large Championship. Hiller Girls Tennis also captured the TVL Large Championship and claimed the 5th seed in the Division II state tournament with their 17-1 record. In the round of 32, they swept 28th-seeded North Attleboro. Hiller Girls Tennis fell to 12th-seeded TVL rival Westwood in the round of 16 and ended their season with a record of 18 wins and 2 losses. A well-deserved 5 Hiller athletes were named TVL All-Stars from the team, including Paula Sendelli, Riley Crattenmaker, Victoria Allen, Haley Kessler, and Romy Zidman. Head coach Lynn Calkins won Coach of the Year, and the Hiller girls also claimed the TVL Large Championship. Congratulations on a tremendous season. Hiller Boys Outdoor Track and Field also claimed the TVL Large title. They had several TVL All-Stars, including TVL MVP Sean Golombuski. Brian Prescott was also named Coach of the Year. Other All-Stars included Russell Perryman, Kevin Prasanna, Craig Saloy, Wyatt Ruff, Josh Krimgold, Luke Boothroyd, Ruben Norian, and Paul Litcher. Congratulations on an incredible season. Hiller Girls Outdoor Track and Field also claimed the TVL Large title. Kate Powers was deservedly named the TVL MVP. Other All-Stars included Emma D. Michelle, Sarah Furlong, Bethel Flanagan, Elise Srodawa, and Kiki Fossbender. Hiller coach Gene Can was named TVL Coach of the Year. To all the Hiller Spring athletes, teams, and coaches, congratulations on an absolutely incredible spring 2021-2022 season.